To be on his way, but in the closing weeks of the campaign, how he brought this team to this title. 3 in a row. It's no mean feat. The history makers, the record breakers, the team that have simply been head and shoulders above the rest. Manchester City equal the English top flight record. Huddersfield Town did it in the 1920s. Manchester City, spurred on by the goals of Erling Haaland, have once again come out on top. Eight goals clear of Harry Kane in the race for the Golden Boot. Erling Haaland will hope to add to his tally of 36 when City go to play Brighton in midweek. He's got Brentford away next Sunday as well. But what an impact Haaland has made. And what a team. What champions Manchester City are.
Yeah, and you have to love his spirit, his enthusiasm, his desire just to get the next goal. That's all that's on his mind. And there were times when people began to doubt whether he was going to suit this team, but it's all been blown away. He has come in and he has delivered everything that Pep Guardiola would have hoped to see him come up with. And you're hearing now the Guardiola chant around the stadium, and he is very much the main man.
Manchester City sing that they have Guardiola. They have just lifted one trophy. There could be 2 more to come.
Warm embrace for Pep Guardiola. Champions again. Let's get some immediate reaction right in the middle of it. Manish is with John Stones.
Yeah, thanks very much, Steve. John, very many congratulations. Your 5th Premier League winners' medal, your 3rd in a row. How does that feel?
I can't put it into words. I think yesterday when we were at the training ground and we won it, obviously when Arsenal lost their game, it was just strange because you know you've got to come out today and play, and I think it's always a difficult game when you have to come out and knowing that you've already won it. You kind of relax a little bit, but I think how we played today against such a good team, I think we did so well, and honestly I just can't put it into words.
Do you have to temper celebrations considering what's still round the corner?
Yeah, exactly. I think the manager's got that across to us quite well. But no, he wants us to celebrate it. I think definitely the older that I've got, I know that you've got to enjoy these moments when they're here and live in the moment and be respectful of what's ahead of us as well. Definitely.
I was going to say 5 titles, unbelievable. Congratulations first and foremost. But how do you get to this level, this team, you individually? You've played, I said before the game, 7 different positions this season, I think. You've been unbelievable, so congratulations. How do you do it?
I think it's just the joy of that moment right there, lifting the title. Yeah, it just gets stronger and makes you want to do it more and more. And I think when I went through that difficult period, I know I keep going back to it quite a lot, but it makes you appreciate things so much more. And I really do go into everything now, you know, with such appreciation and give everything every moment that I can, and you know, never believe that it's for granted or. You know, this could be the last one. Hopefully not, but I think you've got to you've got to appreciate it while it lasts and give everything while you're in that moment.
And personally, John, congratulations.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you. Comparison to last season, how would you rather win the title? Last day of the season,
this.
Yeah. Early. I always say the same. Get out of the way. Yeah. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the day.
Definitely like this. I think to go through that last season was so special. Probably never happen again. And yeah, I don't want to go put my body through or my mind through that again. It was something special, and I think to win it and however you win it, it doesn't kind of define you or get remembered as such. You know, as long as we win it, and these are the moments that matter, and to do it at home as well is something special.
John, finally, what position is your speciality now? Is it centre half?
Everywhere.
Is it centre mid? Is it right back? What is it?
I think it's centre half. I'm not sure. I think what.
Sorry, I seen him against Real Madrid midweek. He was getting shots off in the 18th box. I was like, what's he doing up there?
Feels a bit strange to me as well. No, I've absolutely loved the role that I've been playing, over the past few months. Being able to kind of have a bit more of a free role, but I think you all know how structured the manager is and what he wants from us positionally, and obviously with the ball giving me that freedom to kind of go forward and express myself, kind of try and make things happen if it comes off. And he's given me the belief to believe in myself first and foremost, that I can go in there and do a job, and then it's about me doing it out on the park.
It's been a pleasure seeing you kick on from the days at Barnsley. Good luck for the next 2 weeks. Well done, Johnny. Cheers, man. Cheers. John Stones there for you, Steve.
Great work, gentlemen. Immediate reaction, fantastic from the Etihad Stadium, and very interesting, Sean, to hear John Stones say the older you get, you have to savour it more and take it in more.
You do, and I think Owen hit the nail on the head when he said when he was younger he didn't understand how to enjoy it, or he didn't kind of get it, and John Stones pretty much said the same things. The older he's got it, you have to take it when it can. You've got to enjoy that moment, because as good as City are, it may never happen again. So enjoy it with respect to knowing that they've got a few games coming up, so don't get carried away, but enjoy it now.
Yeah, and the moments, aren't they, that you forever remember at the end of the season, or the end of your career, I should say. I look back now, and those great days of winning something, the party afterwards, the feeling that you get is what I remember. It's not the days leading up to it, or the chase throughout the season, the 9-month grind. But when you actually achieve something at the end of the season, that's what you remember. So absolutely, you've got to savour every moment.
Yeah, I think, for the
ways, and I think to get it out of his system, in a way, is maybe what was needed leading into, as we know, the games that they've got coming up. I think he'll be a lot more relaxed. He seemed a little bit more relaxed today, and now it's time to just push on and keep winning.
Riyad Mahrez with the selfie stick, there you go. His 4th City title, to add to his one from his Leicester City days as well, and he is capturing all of it on camera. Right, more Manchester City player reaction. Back to the Etihad, to Manish.
Thanks, Steve. Nathan Aki has joined us here at the Etihad Stadium. Many congratulations, Nathan, on your 3rd Premier League title winners' medal. How does that feel?
Still feels incredible. We work so hard for it, and this season hasn't been the easiest, but to end up like this is an incredible feeling.
Personally, how do you reflect on this season? I mean, obviously you've still got 2 games left of this league campaign, but for you, I mean, to be part of this back line, which Pep's had to tinker around over the course of the season, using 4 centre-halves at one point, but what about for you and your personal form?
Well, I'm very happy how the season went. Much more improvement for myself. I think I felt the trust from the manager. He's always kept faith in me, so that was very good. And I think over the season I just improved a little bit more and more. And I understood the new position the manager really gave me and the other guys in the back line, and it really clicked at one point.
I think we talk about unsung heroes in a team, and I think about you, because all the other people get the headlines, but the season you've had has been amazing.
Thank you very much.
How does it feel now, 3 times champion? It must be so special.
Yeah, it is a special feeling. We're so happy to do this, especially, Premier League every day, every game is so tough. It doesn't matter where you play. So over the course of the whole season, I think it's such a nice feeling to win it.
Congratulations, man.
There are some muddy stances there, Nathan. How much credit are you taking for Jack Grealish's form?
No, nothing. No, I think we had a really good bond this season. He's incredible to play with. You can always give him the ball. He always demands the ball. He's been amazing this season.
How are you going to celebrate tonight? Is it going to be a glass of champagne, or playing the piano for some of the players? We got a snippet of that earlier in the programme.
Yeah. No. Tonight, no piano. Now we have to celebrate. I think with the families, with the whole club, everyone who's been involved, and after we can focus on the last 2 games.
Yeah, and talking of focus, a huge last couple of weeks of this campaign, where you can take this club to a whole new level, right?
No, exactly. I think earlier on maybe you didn't want to talk about it yet, but now we're in the finals. I think we have to go for it as well. So it's a celebration now, but yeah, I think in a few days' time we have to start to focus again for the next one.
I've just got to ask you, did any of the players doubt that you'd given yourselves almost too much to do catching Arsenal? The fact that in April you're 8 points behind them, albeit with a game in hand. Were there doubts creeping in your mind then?
No, to be honest, we already said to each other always, even in the middle of the season, you know, we trust each other. We know that we can do incredible runs. We've done it the last couple of seasons. And yeah, we always had the faith that we could do that again. But that's how much belief I think this team has in each other and in themselves. And I think that's very important.
Many congratulations and good luck for the next couple of weeks. Thank you very much, Nathan. Brilliant. Great to hear as well about the self-belief, Steve, there from Nathan Ake.
Absolutely, yeah. It is third. Absolutely, it's his third Premier League title, the Dutchman, and he's been a revelation this season at times in that new position he was talking about there.
Another player in many ways that comes back from the wilderness or back from out of Pep's thoughts, let's say. We've seen John Stones, we've seen now Nathan Ake, and he seems to do that. You know, with certain players, they can just not be on the radar for a few months, and then all of a sudden they pop back up and they end up being you know, huge parts. And you know, Sean mentioned it earlier, that these players, that they come back and it doesn't take them very long, if anything, to just get the pace straight away and straight into the team, and they're looking like they've never been away. So Pep Guardiola and his team, his backroom team, take a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, and the stats back that up with Ake in particular. 21 Premier League starts this season, only 19 in the last 2 seasons combined. I just want to ask you about İlkay Gundogan, because we saw a shot of him earlier on, having lifted that trophy. Only Vincent Kompany and Fernandinho have done it for City in Premier League history. Pep Guardiola's first ever signing when he arrived in 2016, and they're trying to secure his future as well. What a moment for İlkay Gundogan.
Yeah. Fabulous football player and a great guy as well. Can play so many different positions. Remember that season where he was playing almost as he was their goal scorer, playing as a centre forward. Play as a deep midfielder, can play his box to box. He's almost a perfect Pep player, Gundogan. No ego, no opinion, can be dropped, can sit on the bench, can play in the biggest games, is always there when you need him, and always produces the goods, and is humble and respectful, but deep down is a winner. And you know, I think Gundogan sets the tone for what Pep wants from these players. He doesn't want, you know, he doesn't want divas. You look at Cancelo, you know, something there he didn't like, and he was gone. And he wants players to be humble. But Ake, these guys are great examples, you know. If you're going to do the work and you're going to play well, you're going to play. You know, even if you didn't play last year, for whatever reason, some players didn't do their body of work this season, and they're gone. You know, they'll play in other clubs, and Pep's got everybody under control, and it's remarkable.
Well, that's the reason today that this fella joined the football club, and we've just seen him give his father his medal, and his father also took the bottle of champagne from his hand as well, following in his father's footsteps, Erling Haaland.
I wish you could bottle this feeling forever.
No, this is the memories I will remember the rest of my life, and we've been fighting so hard. And yeah, honestly, I don't know what to say. I didn't plan anything to say or anything, because I don't know what to say.
Also as well, we just saw it there with that dance. How much do you feel the special connection between yourself and the fans?
No, it's special, and I'm just going to enjoy this day. This is a so special moment with this trophy and with all the players and the whole club. Without the club, it would not be possible, and teammates and everything. So it's amazing.
Could it have gone any better for you?
Yeah, of course, but debut season, 36 goals so far, Premier League trophy, and 2 finals left. Not a bad start.
Go and enjoy the celebrations.
Thank you.
An incredible insight into Pep Guardiola, who we've had the pleasure of enjoying now for 7 seasons. But let me take you back to his very first press conference when he arrived at the Etihad in July 2016.
People associate you with magnificent football, with passing football. Do you think that will be possible every week in a league as physical as England?
That's why I'm here. To prove myself that I am able to do that. Just here from Barcelona in Bayern Munich that I will not be able, but that is the reason why I'm here. So I was in Barcelona, where I had absolutely everything, the best player ever, and one team where most of the players grew up from the academy, so I knew them. And Bayern Munich, a club where I have a lot of experience as well for many things, and here is another test for my career. So we had been comfortable to stay where we were, where I was, but now I feel that is the right moment to come here and to prove myself if I'm able to convince these players to play the way we want, not just I want, we want, and show level. At the end, we will see.
Suffice to say, he has proven himself, hasn't he, Pep Guardiola? But that was fascinating to hear his very first comments. I mean, you had good friends who played under him at Bayern and had to go through that transition and change. It's been brilliant to watch, hasn't it, from that day to this?
Yeah, remarkable. I mean, even the boys at Bayern, they all said he's years ahead of everybody else in terms of the way he sees the game. Like he would tell. I remember Ari and Robin speaking to him. And he said he stood on the right wing his whole career, and you tell him, look, just stand, don't stand there, stand where you are when the ball's in this position. And he said it happened in the game, and he looked across and he thought, how does he know? Like how does he know I need to be there in that moment? And Mikel said it in that interview. He knows what's going to happen 5 seconds before anybody else. Obviously, tactically he's genius, but I just think the levels that he's reached is. Everybody says he's the greatest innovator, and the one thing I love about Pep is he's always evolving. You know, you think about this season; it was all about the fullbacks. Last season, now it's all about he's got 4 centre backs. This season, we said he couldn't get a Haaland into his team. Could he find a way without a false 9? Finds a way. Best defence, best attack, best goal scorer, most assists in Kevin De Bruyne. And Sean, you made a great point. You know, you think about all the players; they're not superstars outside of Haaland. Gundogan is a really good player. De Bruyne, he was never a top player until they just seem to get better and better, and that's why Pep is that it makes everybody the best.
Mikel Arteta said there, you have to accept he's changed the game. It's impossible to disagree with that, isn't it?
Well, you'd say he's constantly changing the game as opposed to just changed it, as Owen just said. I mean, it's a moving feast with Pep Guardiola. You know, he will never become predictable. You know, some of the changes that we've seen over the years, since that press conference that we've seen, he's probably played in about 5 or 6 different ways, different little systems, tweaks here, tweaks there. He will always be very detailed when looking at the opposition. But his own team has changed an awful lot and will probably continue to change. He never wants to stand still at all. And some people will argue and think, you're so good the way you are, why would you want to do something different? And then all of a sudden he makes 1 or 2 little subtle changes this season. And it's resulted in arguably the best Manchester City team he's managed. Now that is a decent argument because there's been 1 or 2 great teams over the last sort of 6 or 7 seasons. But this is an incredible team now. And when you watch it, I've had the great fortune of watching a couple of the recent games from above. When you watch it, it's just a totally different aspect to watching on television or watching it from pitch level. It almost just works perfectly. All the pieces are just moving. And you sit there thinking, if I was a manager against this team, what would I do? And you're left scratching your head. You just think, I'm watching it and thinking, that is impossible to play against. As I say, you could argue not the greatest collection of players ever to be in one team, but the way he gets all the best out of them, the way he tactically manages them is just, I've never seen anything like it.
And keeps them on their toes, Sean. From a player's point of view, for instance, when he pulls John Stones and explains what he wants him to do, something John Stones has never done in his career, the way he innovates and educates these players.
Yeah, and I think that is why they keep winning things back to back. I think players like that, you have to keep them hungry, you have to keep them guessing. And I think that's where the rotation comes in. But the thing I admire about him, like I think I've said it before, is that I know what it's like when you're not playing and then you get that start. There's always that rustiness about you. Like there's certain aspects of your game that are not where you want it to be. But I've found with him, no matter, like if you look at John Stones, he didn't play most of the season. He brings him in and he's like player of the match. So I'm like, okay, so where was his ring rust? And I had a conversation with, I think it was Rafa when he was in, and he said his whole backroom staff is set up to manage situations like that. So whenever the players are out, when they do come in, they're game ready. They're at the same level as everybody else. They understand what they're meant to be doing and what they have to do. And I think it goes back to what Owen said. It's just, he's so far in front of people. everything that we didn't know before, he's already known. So everyone's prepared for every occasion that comes up. I think like in this run, he knew what the situation was. He said he has to be 100% to catch Arsenal or to win the league. They were 100% and they done it. And they know now for the first time this season, I think they played today, and it's a different sort of pressure. It's a more relaxed pressure. They can enjoy this pressure and showcase themselves. And that hasn't been the case all season.
Yeah, and I've touched this on with you before. You won multiple leagues in a row at Bayern. When you've won one, you get that satisfaction. But how do you keep that desire from the manager to say, right, you've won that, you've won 4, now I want 5. He's won 5 out of 6. He'll be saying this summer, I want 6 out of 7.
Yeah, but in a way, don't over-celebrate. You know, don't look like an imposter. Because if you enjoy it too much, you look like, you know, you're one-hit wonder in a way. So you want to show the boys, look, I tend to stay here for a very long time, and I want to get better every year. And once you taste it, you want to go again, and you want to go again, and you want to go again. And that's the thing I love about Pep. He sets standards which Mo mentioned he's cool with, but then he wants to get better every year. He gets bored of playing the same way, and he finds little tweaks and tries to do it different. And that's why the only constant with Pep is that he's always evolving. He's always changing. And I find that, you know, we talk about philosophies and stuff, but it's amazing that he's always altering his philosophy to try and improve and see if he can reach a higher level.
I just want to get, did you say this might not be the best Manchester City team he's managed?
Well, individually, I mean, this is the best team I've seen to the naked eye, just watching them.
Collectively.
Yeah, they just blow me away. But we were not arguing. We never argue, do we, lads?
No.
We were arguing earlier. We were arguing.
You were. I did listen.
In terms of the Yaya Toures and...
Do you think he's had better individuals in the past? Is that
You'd
your
say
argument?
so, wouldn't you? I mean...
David Silva, Yaya.
Company.
You know, it's an interesting debate because actually I think this is almost the least Pep team that he's ever had in terms of... You're talking about the fullbacks are coming inside. Obviously now he's playing with 4 centre-backs. Now he's got a big centre-forward, which he never had. You know, he's almost adapted a little bit of old-school English football in a way. You know, this is the biggest Man City team I've ever seen. I mean, the only player that's really small out there is Bernardo Silva. The rest of them are almost like 6 foot. You know, 6'2". Akanji, Ake, you know, Diaz. All of a sudden, this team has evolved and turned into this powerhouse that it's not just about the football anymore. They can physically, you know, they can play, they can go long. You know, I think they're
not
adapted.
Soft against set pieces. We were talking yesterday. Yeah. They're big, they're strong, as you say. You can throw anything at this Manchester City team nowadays. You want to fight with them, you want to play football against them, you want to try to play for set pieces against them. They've got an answer for every single question you throw at them.
And leaders everywhere you look. Probably more leaders than they've had in the past, collectively?
Yeah, definitely. I think each in their own way, like we said before, I think Gundogan is not a leader that will shout and scream. He more kind of just leads by the way he plays on the pitch. And as you've seen in the back end of the last 2 seasons, he scored those vital goals that helped them win the league. But in general, for me, the way they play, to have the different options, at times it's almost like they're playing with a man less. But because they can keep the ball that well, Haaland doesn't have to always be involved. Any other team would have a problem with that man not helping, say, defensively or showing and making angles for certain passes. But he's got them so drilled within the way they move and show for each other. And that was one thing I found, like, with Michael Carrick. I think for a winger, he, for me, was probably the best midfielder. Whenever I got stuck, he was always a pass on. And I think City have that all the way around the pitch. And if they are stuck, like you said, they can just go in behind to Haaland. And then what does the team do then? Because I feel like the defenders then have to back off. And once that happens, then people like Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva and Foden, they can get in those pockets and then the game's wide open.
It was also interesting on the VT, wasn't it? The way he shared out a bit of responsibility in terms of some of the players doing team talks. You know, we saw Gundogan, we saw Laporte, we saw, you know, a varied type of player. And that builds that leadership, that gives them all sort of an individual confidence, I'd say, and leadership qualities. And it was fascinating to see that he actually pushes that responsibility on certain players.
He's making them accountable, isn't he? You know, Diaz or those players give a team talk. You know, in our era, you would have never done that. So I don't think Sir Alex was letting us give give a team talk. But I like the fact he's pushing kind of accountability onto the boys and said, come on, guys, grow with this. You know, you guys are part of this. You guys are the leaders. They pick the captains, don't they?
Yeah, he does. They all have a vote with the captains, so they decide all that as
and
well.
everybody from the outside, we'd all think Kevin De Bruyne would be #1 captain, wouldn't he? But the players picked Gundogan ahead of him, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't know the reasons behind why they did, but obviously they must feel like he was right for a certain situation and say Kevin, because there's like 3 of them and they all play their own roles and what they're going to do, basically.
Just before we move on in terms of the best or the most collective Manchester City teams, in terms of points, and of course City now have 3 games that mean nothing, but it'll mean something to Pep Guardiola. Just look at this for a moment here. The most points, 4th time in the 90s, potentially. They can get 94 points this season, a maximum. If they did that, 4 of the 7 highest points tallies in Premier League history will be Pep Guardiola's.
But see, that goes with the debate we just had. They probably had better, more attacking teams. You know, they probably scored more goals, got more points. But this team is the hardest to play against. And you look what they did to Real Madrid in the Champions League semi-final. They absolutely annihilated a team full of Ballon d'Or winners. You know, so in that sense, they might not have the most points. They might not get the most points that they've had in the past. But I think they're the most complete team that I've seen under Pep.
I think if you think about it, what Owen's saying is right, because one thing City always suffered from in those past years were getting hit on transition. Anyone that was quick would break and normally end up in the back of the goal. The only difference was, like you said, they scored more. So now that's kind of nullified. You very rarely see them get hit on transition, and that's to do with just the way he tactically evolves and corrects things.
And Michael, we were just discussing earlier, 14 seasons as a manager, 11 titles. The 3 seasons he hasn't won the title,